I'm Amanda Goldman-Petrie, and in today's training, I want to show you how to run Facebook ads that prime your prospects for the offer that you are going to make. Because here's the deal. When you run Facebook ads, most of the time you're getting in front of a cold audience, cold leads who may not know, like, and trust you just yet. They definitely don't know your offer yet. You're introducing it to them using the ads. And what's going to happen is if they're not primed, if they're not put in a frame of mind where they are actually ready to take action, they're not going to click. They're not going to read. They're not going to schedule. They're not going to give you their name, email address. They're not going to buy. You've got to make sure that your audience is primed for the offer that you are going to make. And so the strategy that I'm going to teach you today is it's a framework for how to come up with ad angles that put your prospects in the right frame of mind to be ready to take your prescribed action. So these ads are not going to be very overtly promotional. And what I mean by that is overtly promotional ads are ones that go directly into the ask. Those are the types of ads that you see where right away they say, hey, I've got this free thing. Here's the name of it. Go click here to go get access to it. Like, hey, here's my free webinar and here's the link, go register. That's a very overtly promotional sales Facebook ad that when you see it in your newsfeed, you know what it is, right? You're not fooling anyone. Those types of ads work really well when the people you're putting in front of already know you and you've built up that level of trust. But like I said, that's not the case with most people on Facebook. And so you've got to make sure that you've got a good amount of ads that are addressing the fact that you're putting yourself in front of cold audiences that need to be primed and need to be put in a state of mind to be ready to take your prescribed action. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an educate then ask model in your ads, meaning you're going to start off in your ads by teaching, by showing your knowledge and displaying your expertise, and then you're going to segue it into an ask where you ask them to go ahead and take whatever action it is, whether it's opt in for your funnel, give you their name and email address, or maybe it's to buy an entry-level offer. In either case, you need to prime them first. And so the framework I want to show you today is actually the primer framework. P-R-I-M-E-R. Each of these letters stands for a different angle that you can run using ads. It stands for a different way that you can come up with a creative approach to your ads that's more than just overtly promotional. It's how you come up with content to teach that's actually going to prime them to be ready to take action. So let's go through the primer framework. P is problem created, solution provided. And so your goal in this type of ad is to actually create a problem for your prospect, a problem that they don't even realize that they have. Because here's the deal, there's a lot of us who, every single solitary human being on this earth has problems that they don't even realize that they have. They're not even aware of it. There might be people who actually, oh my God, this was a really good example actually. There was a good amount of time where probably like a good year where I was laying in my bed, working on my computer so much that I actually ended up getting forward neck posture and my head was like this. Obviously it's not like that anymore, but it was like this. And I was not aware of it. It was a problem I had, but I had no idea until my husband pointed it out to me. And so all of a sudden, by pointing that out, he created a problem. And then I had to go and find a solution. But if I had seen an ad and it was from maybe like a chiropractor or a doctor who said, a lot of entrepreneurs have this problem called forward neck posture and they don't even realize it. Here's how you can test to see if you have it. Go look in the mirror and this is what you're looking for. And if you have it, here is a solution. And then they could segue it into their offer. If I had seen an ad like that, I probably would have gone and I would have bought from whatever chiropractor or doctor it was who made me aware of that problem. That's what makes the most sense. When you go to a doctor's office and they give you a diagnosis, it makes sense to work with that doctor in order to solve that diagnosis, right? You're not going to go to one doctor, get a diagnosis, and then go somewhere completely else. I mean, if you don't like the diagnosis, you might go somewhere else. But for the most part, if you go to a doctor, they give you a diagnosis, you're going to keep working with that doctor, right? And if they refer you to a specialist, okay, but you're going to keep reporting back to that doctor. You're going to keep working with that doctor. It works the same way with ads. If you make a prospect aware of a problem that they didn't even realize that they had, they're going to come to you for the solution. They're going to want to work with you to find that solution. So that your job in these ads is to illustrate for them, illuminate for them that they have a problem that they didn't even realize that they had. Describe their symptoms to such a T that they have to believe that you must have the diagnosis. You must have the root cause. And then after you've described their symptoms so vividly that they can now self-identify as, oh, you know what, I do have that problem, then you can segue and say, okay, well, if you know now that you have this problem, here's a gift or here's an offer that's going to help solve it. And that's a natural segue into your funnel or your offer. So that's P. Problem created, solution provided. Create a problem for them. Illuminate their problem that they have, they just don't know it yet, and describe their symptoms, then segue it into your solution. R. Okay, R is rewind from step 2. And so what you want to do here is you want to position what you're giving them, what you're teaching them, whatever your funnel or your offer is, position that as step 1. And then kind of figure out what would be the next step. Like, let's say you're a sales coach, right? And you are in your funnel, the first thing that you're doing, let's say your free gift is you help people get calls on the calendar. Okay, well, what naturally is the next step after someone's figured that out? After someone knows how to get calls on the calendar, what happens next? Well, they have calls and they have to actually learn how to convert those calls, right? Like, they have to learn how to get people to say yes. So what you can do in your ads is you can teach that second step. You can teach that next step. You can teach them, how do you get a yes on the phone? And have an entire ad that's actually educating them on sales conversations. And then say, so at the end of the ad, after you've taught them, you say, okay, so now you know how to do sales conversations, but guys, this doesn't matter if you don't have calls on your calendar. You need to get calls on your calendar first so that you can actually use this. So here's this gift that's going to teach you how to get calls on your calendar, right? It's a natural segue. See? So that's R, rewind from step 2. Teach them step 2 and then say, oh, actually you need step 1 first. Let's back up here. Here you go. Here's my gift or my offer for step 1. Let's get that done first and then you can go and work on step 2 like we just talked about, right? So that's that other angle. It's going to prime them because it's going to show them that they're thinking a little bit too far ahead. It's going to show them, it's going to satisfy them for what they're currently interested in, while also illuminating for them, oh man, that's actually not what I should be thinking about right now. You do the exact opposite. You initiate step 1. And so what you're going to do is you're going to position your offer, your funnel, as step 2. And you're going to teach them step 1. So you're going to think about what comes first. So again, let's go back to that same example. Let's say that your free gift, your funnel, starts with teaching them how to get calls on the calendar. Well, what comes before getting calls on the calendar? It could be actually setting up your sales calendar. It could be figuring out what you're even going to sell in the first place. Like, normally if you're getting people on the phone, you're selling a high ticket offer. So what you could do in your ad is you could teach them step number 1, which is figuring out their high ticket offer. Help them craft it. And then once you've taught them in the ad, in the form of a video or the post text, how to come up with their high ticket offer, you say, okay, now you know your high ticket offer, so let's move on to step number 2, which is getting calls on your calendar so you can actually sell that high ticket offer. So here's my offer, here's my gift, or here's my funnel. And it's a natural segue because you just satisfied them with that first step and illuminated the problem for them, which is, oh man, this high ticket offer doesn't even matter if I don't have calls on my calendar. I should really get calls on my calendar, right? So again, you're priming them, you're putting them in the right frame of mind to be ready for that call to action that you're going to make. So that is I. So P, create a problem for them. Illuminate the problem that they have, that they don't even realize that they have by describing their symptoms to a T. And then position your funnel or your offer as the solution. R, rewind from step number 2. So teach them step number 2 and then say, oh, we got to back up, and then give them your funnel as the first step. I, complete opposite, initiate step number 1. Teach them step number 1, the thing that comes before your offer, and then position your offer as the next step, as the natural segue after they've learned step number 1. Okay, M is metaphor. And so this works really well with prospects who they have a problem, and maybe they know they have the problem, but you just haven't illustrated it in a way that really has landed for them. It's kind of like there'll be people who smoke, and you can tell them over and over and over and over and over again, hey, you shouldn't be smoking, it's bad for your health. But they're not gonna listen until they hear it just the right way from the right person with the right message, the right angle. And so sometimes people just need you to kind of word it in a different way. And so we find that metaphors can be a really cool tool to help illustrate the importance and the urgency behind solving their problem. So for example, we had this one client who's a lawyer, and we ran an ad angle for her that was based on a metaphor. So her funnel was sending traffic into an offer where she gave her prospects a template for how to respond to refund requests. It was, hey, if your prospect or if your client asks for a refund, here's a template you can use to respond with it. And so in the ad angle, we made a metaphor that showed how a lot of times clients actually rank you lower than an eggplant. And what I mean by that is, let's say you go to a grocery store and you're like, oh, I'm gonna make eggplant parm for dinner, and this is gonna be great. It's gonna be so yummy. You go and buy the eggplant. You go home and you're like, you know what? I want to go out to eat. I don't want eggplant parm today. Are you gonna take that eggplant back to the grocery store? If you cut into that eggplant a little bit and you started making the eggplant parm and then you changed your mind, are you gonna take that eggplant back to the grocery store? No, you're not. And if you tried, the teller's gonna look at you like you're freaking crazy because that doesn't work. No, you don't do that. But in service-based businesses, in the coaching industry, people do that all the time. They'll buy your services, take a little piece of it, they'll buy your course, watch all of it, and then all of a sudden ask for a refund because they changed their mind or they went a different way, or whatever excuse they pull out of the hat. So in a lot of clients' eyes, you actually rank lower than an eggplant. So that was a metaphor that we used to illustrate how important this specific scenario is within a service-based business. And then we segued it into her offer. So you can kind of do the same thing there. Think of a metaphor that properly illustrates the importance and the urgency of solving the problem that you solve. All right, that is M. E is eliminating objections. So what you want to do here in this ad angle is you want to think in advance of what are some of the objections that your prospect might have to the very first offer that you're sending traffic to. So let's say you have a funnel and you're sending traffic into something free first, and then eventually you have something paid. You're not thinking of objections to the paid offer. You're thinking of objections actually to the free offer. Let's say it's a webinar. What are some of the things that people hate about webinars? They hate the length, right? So you can talk about how it's not like a 60-minute webinar, it's much shorter, and you can eliminate that objection. Or maybe it is 60 minutes and you can talk about why it's so important for it to be that length and convince and persuade them that actually it's a good thing, right? So if the very first thing that you're driving traffic to has some sort of objection around it, identify what that objection is and use the ad angle to address that objection, then segue it into your offer and your funnel. That's E. And then finally, R is right way versus wrong way. And so what you want to do here is you want to position your method, your strategy, what you're offering in the front of your funnel as the right way of doing things, and how everyone else is doing it, everything else that's in your newsfeed is wrong. And so you want to identify what are some of the most popular competitors, the most popular alternative methods within your industry, and then come up with ways to position yourself as different or better, and then illustrate that in your ad. So for example, in one of our ad angles that we ran, we were teaching people how to create a really simple, very fast, quick, lean sales funnel that's easy to whip up and send traffic to. At the time, webinars were super popular, and so we ran an ad angle just like destroying webinars and talking about how terrible they were and why they're so terrible, and here's a better way to do it, and positioned our super lean funnel as far superior to the alternative of a webinar, and then segued it into our training where we taught that lean funnel. So you can see I'm putting them in the right frame of mind because I'm anticipating the objections that they're going to have. I'm anticipating the arguments that they're going to need to hear. I'm anticipating the distractions that they might have. I'm anticipating the competitors that they might be considering, and I'm knocking all of those things out in these angles and then segueing it into my offer. So it perfectly positions you in that ad to prime your prospect to go ahead and take action, and not just take action, but take action in a ready state of mind. Because there's plenty of people who, they'll put their name and email address in, but they're not actually gonna watch your webinar, or they're not actually going to pick up the phone, or they're not actually gonna take their credit card out. You'll get a name and email address, but you're not actually gonna get a lead or a customer. So this framework is designed to anticipate, like I said, those objections, those distractions, those competitors, and those frames of mind that they're in, and shift it so that they're in a ready state of mind, primed to go through your funnel to become an actual lead and sale. So there you go, guys. That is the primer framework that you can use to come up with a variety of different creative ad angles that are gonna make your Facebook ads so much more successful. Now, I know that as you've listened to this, you might be thinking, oh, wow, this is really cool. This is a creative way to do Facebook ads, but that sounds like a lot of work and I don't want to have to write all of those angles. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, this sounds great, but this is really not my expertise, so I don't want to have to be dealing with that. And if that sounds like you, I want to introduce you to our done-for-you traffic generation services, where we actually manage your Facebook ads and your publicity to send traffic, qualified, primed traffic, to your funnels and your offers so that they're ready to become actual leads and buyers for your products and services. And it's a completely done-for-you service, so we're the ones that are going to be coming up with all of the ad angles. We're going to actually write all of them for you. We're going to design the images and do all of the split testing, set up all of the campaigns, the data reporting, and all of that good stuff. Because Facebook ads, let's be real, they're very time intensive, they're super nuanced, and it's probably not something that you should be spending your time doing, but they're so important. They're such a critical aspect to any business model, online or local. I've had plenty of local businesses that in their industry, they typically aren't running Facebook ads, and as soon as I've introduced it to them, they've skyrocketed in their business. And then of course in the online world, what are your other alternatives? Your other alternatives are go and post on social media all day, which is slow and manual and grueling, or SEO, which is completely unpredictable. And what else? Telesummits, giveaways, those get you, 1,000, couple thousand in every 90 days. Is a ton of work, but it's not predictable. It's not sustainable. Ads, they are predictable, they're sustainable, they're delegatable, they're scalable, they're trackable. In every single way, they are the far superior traffic source to find qualified, primed traffic that's ready to become leads and buyers for your products and services. So if you are not using ads, you absolutely have to start using them if you actually want to grow and scale your business. And if you are using them, you gotta make sure you're using them the right way. A lot of ads managers out there, they're just running overtly promotional ads, and they're maybe only running a couple of angles. You need to be running so many different angles. This is just one of our frameworks. We have 44 different ad angles that we run for every single solitary client that comes our way. We come up with 44 different ad angles so that we are constantly testing to see what messages work for your specific prospects and what frame of mind your specific prospects are tending to come your way in. That way we have enough data to really tweak and figure out what's working for you. So like I said, it's very nuanced. So it really, really works, but you gotta work it right. So if you're not running ads, you gotta be. If you are running ads, you gotta make sure you're running them the right way. And the best way to do that is just to hire a professional to do it for you. So like I said, I wanna tell you about our done-for-you traffic generation services. And the best way to find out about that is just click the link in this post. When you click the link in this post, it's gonna take you over to a page that's gonna describe how those services work, what's included, what our guarantee is, because we do actually offer a guarantee. It's very unusual. Most ad agencies and publicists do not do that. It's gonna talk about how we mesh Facebook ads with publicity services, which is also very unusual because there's no other agency that does both of those things. You either have a publicist or you have an ads manager. You never have a company that does both until now. We do. So it's gonna talk to you all about that. And there will be a button on the page where you can click to schedule a call. Now, when we get on that call, what's gonna happen is we're gonna talk about where's your business now, what's working, what are your problems, so that we have an idea of the current state that your business is in. We're gonna talk about where your business wants to go. So what do you want to keep doing in your business? What do you wanna shift? And what's your plan to bridge this gap to get you from where you are now to where you wanna go? And what we'll do is we'll audit that strategy. Do we really feel like your plan of action is gonna get you from here to here? And we'll prescribe to you our best recommendation for our plan of action that we recommend for you to get from your point A to your desired point B. And from there, if that sounds good, we'll have a really candid discussion about what it looks like to work with us, what our done-for-you traffic generation services look like, our packages, prices, guarantees, answer any of your questions that you have. And there's no obligation to join. So if we feel like we're a fit, great. If not, no harm done. So there's nothing to lose. Go ahead and click the button in this post. Look at our done-for-you traffic generation services and schedule that call. And I look forward to talking to you really soon. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.